Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2 in the series between WFZ and Romantic. Game 2 taking place here on Ancient Isle, I believe, or Nomad Isle 1.3? I'm trying to remember all of these names. And I believe it is Nomad Isle 1.3. There are 3 spawning locations, and I am going to be speeding things up until at least the 1 minute 45 second mark, as, well, I don't have professional writers telling me and whispering things in my ear to help just offset the time. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at things. Mountain King, once again, the primary hero for Romantic. And the previous game really was back and forth for quite a while. The economic advantage for Romantic really was not able to pay off, though, and that's ultimately what happened in the end. We'll see if things go this way in game number 2 as a Spider Crab Behemoth now attacking, attempting to take down this Mountain King. We should be looking at a Forest Troll Shadow Priest coming out here in just a moment. And this is one of those things that you may not notice by watching this game or watching the fight go down. Even though the Spider Crab Behemoth is a rather larger target, it isn't really the target that you should be going after first. The reason why is because the piercing damage on the turtle is actually rather high, and with medium armor, the militia can focus them down quickly. So if you guys are looking to get better at WarCraft 3 and not simply watch me or watch other players cast, that is some of the small things that they're able to do in order to get ahead on time. Now we are going to be looking at the Death Knight down over here, going after the Vile Temptress. Also, another thing to note, there are hawks on this map. Even though they do not attack and don't look like they do very much of anything, the reason for that hawk is because of that Blade Master. The Blade Master is unable to visit this shop while Windwalk, as the hawk does have true sight, and when a hawk has true sight, it spots and gives vision to all the computer units in addition to the creeps. Alright, let's take a look at this down over here. Renegade Wizard. A squirrel is down over here. Mountain King Skeletal Minion is in position, and we are looking at a waking up of the creeps, and there you have it. Renegade Wizards and a Rogue Wizard all in play here. Giant Wolf down over here, as we see a beautiful Stormbolt, but not quite enough for a surround, as the Death Knight is able to get away. Meanwhile, low hit point Footman will be forced to head back here, and this is a rather dangerous creep camp to try and militia clear. Because of that frost armor, the durability on those units is even higher than just the +3 armor, because it also throws in the attack speed reduction. Death Knight now wandering in over here. Where is that Mountain King? Oh, Skeletal Minions are back up where the Mountain King is down over here. Does he realize that the Death Knight is off to the north? That is the big question. If the Death Knight tries to run back through, that he's going to be in a very, very poor spot. All WFC is really doing right now is he's actually helping his opponent by constantly waking up the creeps to cost frost armor. These units actually have a lot less mana than they should. Alright, Giant Wolf. There is a lightning shield on a Giant Wolf right now. Forest Troll Berserker most likely will get death coiled by that Death Knight if possible, as we are looking at the Renegade Wizard. Oh, Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Oh, I guess he is going to try to go for the surround again, and he will be able to escape. Meanwhile, the rest of the units are now running all the way back. Ring of Protection +2 onto that Mountain King. A useful item, and now that Giant Wolf will get finished off. Giant Wolf does have the ability to a critical strike, as we're looking at a Forest Troll Berserker taking a fair amount of damage. No death coil within range, as the Mountain King now gets to level 2. The Death Knight has to be very careful. No, already running away. We are not going to see a surround here, as the Mountain King does not... Oh, he does have Boots of Speed, but still unable to catch up to the Death Knight with his Unholy Aura. Alright, we are looking at an expansion attempt coming in by Romantic, and we're seeing WFZ do exactly what he needs to do in order to try and get ahead here. No lucky bash coming in from that Death Knight. Mountain King, if he's able to get off one more Stormbolt, will be able to finish it off here. He just needs the mana, and that is it. And we may be looking at a Stormbolt here. Are we going to see it? Oh, Scroll of Town Portal used just in time. However, the Tome of Intelligence will be picked up instead by that Mountain King, a free item there, as the Death Knight rightfully used the Scroll of Town Portal in order to stay alive. Otherwise, all of this experience time would be lost, and also the delay in the Lich, as it is currently being trained. Now, This is looking very, very good for Romantic. Romantic is getting the exact things he needs in order to make this game a long game. A low hit point Death Knight who is going to have a hard time to creep. His expansion is already getting underway. He just needs a bit more lumber, I believe. And yes, as long as he doesn't run out of lumber or gold, he is going to be in a very, very good spot. There are plenty of workers here as the skeletal minions now going after a peasant here, not really going to be able to take him down at all, as all the peasant needs to do is just jump inside and will be able to make it back out without much of an issue. There you have it. Town Hall now completed. Death Knight now looking to clear out a large creep camp of his own. Level 2 Death Knight, level 1 Lich, as the Mountain King is going to be a solo hero for a little while longer. And I gotta say, even though this does have a lot of similar qualities as what unfolded in game number 1, the Mountain King is in a much better position this time around. He's already almost level 4, and if he can get there, yes, he'll perhaps get Bash, even though it isn't that great of an ability. He will have more hit points, he will be able to deal a little bit more damage, and that all adds up. Alright, going after perhaps the Rogue Wizard. Rogue Wizard could get taken down very, very quickly, and Renegade Wizard, all of them getting focused down as the Mountain King is absorbing a fair bit of damage. There goes another unit there, as there is also a Ring of Protection +2. Are we going to see the Scroll of Regeneration come through? I do believe so. All the units are now backing off. There is level 4 Scroll of Regeneration picking up a Ring of Protection +2, and that will obviously be sold. Mountain King wandering around here, obviously an illusion, as the Death Knight can click on him and say, hey, I see you're holding a Wand of Illusion. I wonder what that's about. Lich now sitting at level 2 as the Death Knight going to get to level 3 at this time. And now that the Death Knight is at level 3, I'm not quite sure who has the advantage. If the Mountain King was at 5, I would say a definitive advantage for the Mountain King, as a level 3 Stormbolt is nothing to sneeze at this stage in the game, especially when the majority of your units would get taken down below half hit points just from one Stormbolt. Alright, Ring of Protection +2 left behind. Mountain King, Dust of Appearance used, and is he going to use another Wand of Illusion? I believe that's what he's going to do. Pick up the Dust of Appearance. No, there's a Bash. As we're now looking at the Death Knight now wandering off to the north. Alright, there is one Destroyer. The Destroyer going now after the Mountain King, getting in some free damage, and without the Mountain King and an Orb of Fire, there's not much the Mountain King can really do to handle these Destroyers. This is actually a very dangerous spot for human players, as you cannot rely on towers alone. Now, there is a lot of discussion on the use of towers by human players, and all I gotta say is towers are perhaps one of humans' best advantages. They have some of the best base defense, but then again, their workers are also rather exposed. And that is perhaps one of the biggest issues. Even though they can call to arms, sometimes you just want to be able to hide your workers like Orc players are able to do. Now, the Troll Berserkers are going to be good enough counters to those Destroyers as long as the Destroyers do not reach critical mass. Meanwhile, back over here, the Guard Tower does in fact have, what is this? The Masonry upgrade. The Peasants need to start repairing. Not quite sure why they're not doing that. They're just simply watching as their own units are now getting taken down. All right, another peasant going to get taken down there. And this is going to give more and more experience to the Death Knight and the Lich. Back down over here, you can see that Romantic is trying to make a bit of a play happen, trying to take down unit after unit. Perhaps if another Acolyte or two are taken out, that would really slow down WFZ's economy. All right, triple Spirit Towers, though, surrounding this gold mine, and all you need is one more hit. Why don't you take it down? Yes, there you go. The Spirit Towers have, or the Footmen do have Defend, and now WFZ is in trouble in that he doesn't really have the right answer to deal with all of these Footmen who are sitting inside here. Yes, the Footmen do have Defend up, but at some point they will get taken out by the massive number of Spirit Towers. All right, Lich. Losing a lot of mana here. This could be a bit of a problem. Now another Stormbolt, but Potion of Invulnerability goes down. And now we are looking at a Mountain King who's in a little bit of trouble. Potion of Mana, Potion of Healing. And is he going to perhaps try and go for that Lich again? Troll Berserker going to get taken down. There goes another Stormbolt. Death Knight without mana right now. And the Mountain King without mana as well. Without hit points. The Mountain King needs to use that Potion of Healing. And if he can get a Stormbolt off, that would be absolutely huge. The Lich Lich, however, purposely keeping his distance from that Mountain King, and it looks as though the Lich will end up surviving. All right, Arcane Tower draining the mana out of that Death Knight. That's really what we need to see. More mana on that Death Knight in order to save that Lich, and then WFZ will be able to siege to his heart's content the expansion here at what I'll call the center 1 o'clock location. Coming back over, Arcane Sanctums now being built instead. Arcane Sanctum's a rather curious choice, as you're not going to have the Archmage to really give more mana to the Priest and the Sorceress. Spellbreakers are fairly useful against Crypt Fiends, adding in a little bit of range, being immune to the damage, but it's not going to help out all that much. Meanwhile, Blood Mage is now out on the field, able to siphon a little bit of mana, not very much, and now may need to start giving into that Mountain King. Mountain King getting the Stormbolt off onto that Lich. Mountain King now with plenty of mana back up to maximum. Also, the Blood Mage will really want to siphon the mana, perhaps from an Obsidian statue. There is another Stormbolt there, and that Lich is just so well surrounded and protected that there's not much that can be done. All right, Blood Mage going after the Lich again. Lich is going to run out of mana, but the chain has been broken as the Blood Mage needs to retreat and figure out what to do next. Supply 35 over 54 with 400 gold in the bank. 45 over 50 with 300 gold in the bank for the Undead. And Romantic just needs to hold on and make sure that this expansion really begins to work. WFZ has just been playing this game so strongly, though, knowing that he needs to constantly keep pressure, and the Lich is just constantly running out of mana. That's gotta be an absolute nightmare, as the Lich now finally able to stop losing mana to that Blood Mage, but that Blood Mage is going to give more mana to that Mountain King, and this is where things can go from bad to worse. If the Blood Mage gets to level 2, then Banish Bolt is in play against all of those Crypt Fiends. A Spellbreaker walks through the fire and flames of the Undead army and survives, taking so much damage walking through. That's not something that you really want to be seeing. All right, let's take a look. Meat Wagon taking a bit of damage. There's a Stormbolt siphon mana away from the Death Knight. However, the Blood Mage has taken a lot of damage as well. The Blood Mage could get taken down at a moment's notice, and there it goes. And this is just one of those situations where somehow Romantic's army is simply not large enough. He has a lot of stationary defense, but he has no real way to protect this expansion, as the range on the Crypt Fiends and the Meat Wagons far too difficult to deal with. A lot of peasants now working overtime to repair this town hall, but it may not even matter, as I believe the hit points are just consistently going down. So far, the Mountain King wants to finish off a unit or two. Mountain King ventures forth, ends up taking far too much damage. And now, as we add in Abominations, that Mountain King has to be extremely careful. Mountain King using a Potion of Healing and using a Potion of Invulnerability, able to finish off a unit there, but not before losing a Spellbreaker once more. And perhaps, nope, saves his Mountain King with a Scroll of Town Portal. Romantic now holding off WFZ off to the side here. He's trying to constantly repair these towers, but this is just a dangerous spot for Romantic to be in. Spellbreakers are a strong choice, as they are both useful against the Crypt Fiends by taking reduced damage and not being able to be targeted by the Destroyers. The problem is that WFZ already saw the Arcane Sanctums and therefore knew that his opponent was most likely going to be going Breakers. The addition of 1 to 2 Abominations is all an Undead player needs in order to slow down the Spellbreakers here. So the element of surprise is gone. Now that the units are countering each other, and we also see that WFZ is winning the counter war, we then focus on the economy and the size of the armies. WFZ is currently mining no additional gold from this gold mine, meaning that he is actually losing gold, constantly trying to repair it. Death Knight, on the other hand, is off over here. All of his mana is lost, and we may see the Death Knight get taken down. Yes, at level 4, I believe. Level 4 Death Knight taken out. Level 3 Lich able to use a Scroll of Town Portal. But that does give a little bit of ammunition to Romantic, who was looking for a lucky break, and it appears he's got it. Spellbreakers have to be very careful going up against abominations since they do have medium armor. Yes, their little bit of range does help, but with no real, with really no, I guess, spells to control, there is nothing that they can really add to the party here. You're not going to see cripple. You're not going to see anything that can really be stolen from the undead army, and that's why Spellbreakers, even though there are such strong units in so many other matchups, they're anti-magic ability is really not what they are going to be used for. Normal damage with a medium armor is perhaps their best character trait, also being immune to magic.
A player's forces are under attack.
Death Knight and Lich now venturing forth again. Shade and Destroyer keeping track of the army. Death Knight with Frost Armor staying alive. If the Mountain King was nearby, all the Spellbreakers would need to do is just get off one easy kill. Meanwhile, Mountain King trying to run inside the space, and it looks like he's not going to be able to do exactly that. Well, is he going to be able to slip through there? No. And with so much cold damage, all the Mountain King can really do is try and focus down these units. All right, there goes one quick kill there. Staff of Teleportation coming back over. Going to regroup with the rest of the army, as the Death Knight does have a Scroll of the Beast, which would be useful on all of these ground units here, and that is going to be a bit of an issue if things continue to go the way they are. So far, WFZ doesn't really feel challenged. He can sit inside and continue to attack Romantic's base without really any serious threat. Spellbreakers perhaps a big threat, but not that big of a threat at all, as we see a bolt, beautiful bolt, banish bolt combination coming in to take down one of the units. And if the Mountain King and the Blood Mage can continue to do exactly that, that is going to pretty much be everything you see of the Undead army. Once all of those units are taken down, perhaps we'll see some air, as oh, there goes another unit there. The Devourer Magic from WFZ, not quite fast enough in order to stop that from coming into play. Meanwhile, a Dark Ranger siphon mana, not too much mana siphoned away, as the Blood Mage sitting at 71 over 330 mana and hoping to get even more. Blood Mage unable to protect this expansion here at the center 1 o'clock location. Romantic in a bit of trouble, as a lot of his units are getting taken down one by one, and even though they are just peasants, they are going to continue to give more experience to the Lich and the Death Knight. Mountain King is currently off over here with a Shade in pursuit. Blood Mage now coming in, and there is the attack now coming in. Siphon mana away from the Death Knight. Death Knight now pretty much running out of mana, needs to be very careful, and now will be slipping away, but still ends up falling, as the Dark Ranger falls at level 1, but the Blood Mage falls at level 2. So far, peasants still working overtime to try and finish repairing this town hall. It looks like the town hall is just winning a very, very slow war. The Lich, a Frost Nova, taking down 4 peasants pretty much there, as we now see an Abomination about to be taken down. A beautiful Death Coil again, and if the Death Coils continue, that's going to be a very big issue. So only one unit for the Obsidian Statues, the Destroyers, the Crypt Fiends to really attack, and that unit is that Mountain King, and that is why he has to be extremely careful. WFZ getting surrounded again. Is he going to be able to use Scroll of Teleportal this time? Yes, he will, as the Mountain King going after all of the units, and they will be in retreat. Dark Ranger added back to the army. Death Knight sitting at level 4. Lich sitting at level 4 as well, venturing off to the north. Army size 50 over 70 compared to 42 over 60. Romantic still with a smaller army, even though his economy is bigger, and that is perhaps one of the scariest things, knowing that your economy is bigger and has been bigger for quite some time, but not being able to do anything about it. All right, let's take a look as the Mountain King, picks up the Talisman of Evasion. There's a Stormbolt, There's a Siphon mana. The Death Knight all of a sudden down to 53 mana. Is the Mountain King going to be able to get off another Stormbolt there? Oh, silence onto the Mountain King, and a beautiful save by WFZ. That fight could have gone a completely different way, but instead ends up going in favor of WFZ, knowing to silence the Mountain King in order to save the Death Knight. Death Knight gets the level 5 now with level 3 Stormbolt, and now pretty much all bets are off on the victor. All right, Green Dre now going to get focused down rather quickly. Crit Fiend going to be able to take that down. Tome of Strength plus 2, 975 hit points. Not too shabby for a level 5 Death Knight with only 3 items. Crypt Fiend, Blood Mage, all making their rounds. If the Blood Mage can get to level 6, perhaps he can make something happen with the Avatar. Otherwise, I believe the Death Knight with his array of support heroes, including a level 4 Lich, almost level 5, is going to end up taking this game. Meanwhile, back in the center, let's take a look. Are we going to be resurrecting any heroes at the tavern? No, I don't see anything yet, but there could be one. There's the Lich, there's the Death Knight, no Dark Ranger. Yeah, no Dark Ranger as surprisingly. Shade walking around the map looking for where exactly his opponent's army is. Mountain King playing his cards close to the chest, doesn't want to venture out too forth, doesn't want anyone to be able to spy on him and figure out what strategy he is really trying to use. But I believe WFZ should be able to just walk in with this army now and just take down unit after unit. This is not going to be an even fight at all with WFZ's just superior army. 57 over 70 compared to 47 over 60. Yes, his economy is much weaker, but with this difference in size of the army, things can go from bad to worse very, very quickly. Death Knight getting Stormbolted here, does have a potion of invulnerability, does not use it in time. Mountain King in a lot of serious trouble here if he gets taken down, and yes, there he goes, falling at level 5. And that is just going to be pretty much the end of the day for Romantic. Spellbreakers making their way off to the north now. You can see a handful of peasants trying to work together. Spellbreakers are all here. Dark Ranger is here as well, not dealing all too much damage. And here we have the push. The Town Hall taking a beating, but still keeps on ticking so far as the Spellbreakers are now coming in from the back. If the Spellbreakers can focus down these Obsidian statues, that would be a significant penalty, but that would be a pretty big penalty. That I don't think that would be enough of a penalty to really cause them to lose. WFZ's army, the Undead army, has just so many ways to kill you that I don't think the human army and this human army has found a way to really properly deal with it yet. Death Knight now finishes the expansion here at the center 1 o'clock location, running off to the north, attempting to take down some of these Spellbreakers, but the Spellbreakers are going to be able to escape without an issue. And there you have it. At the 25-minute mark of this game, Romantic is only sitting at 47 over 48 supply compared to 57 over 90. And I believe 7 of that 49 supply is, nope, I guess it's not tied up in their workers at the expansion. But there is a lot of workers here and nothing to really show for it. No mining happening at all. 344 gold compared to 60 right now. 67. He is mining off over here, so that is the one saving grace. And without an expansion here to mine, that is going to be a problem. Also, that expansion only has about 4 minutes of mining time left, so not quite sure if it's worth it. Mountain King now back out. Blood Mage, Mountain King. Stormbolt takes down a Crypt Fiend. Meanwhile, can he continue to capitalize on this success? That is the big question. Griffin Rider getting ensnared, venturing forth and not paying attention to where his army is. That Griffin did not need to fall if proper attention was being paid.
player's forces are under attack.
Mountain King trying to get away. Blood Mage right alongside him. That Mountain King, if he can get to level 6, maybe it can turn things around. Avatar is a rather strong spell, but you can see without any gold mines and the Spellbreakers all sitting back over there, not much is really getting done. Blood Mage now trying to head back. It looks like he has -2 armor, so taking an additional 12% damage. Down over here, the Mountain King is just running off to the north, and it looks like he'll be able to stay safe just a bit as a Blood Mage bolt silence. Blood Mage now falls, and that is pretty much going to be all she wrote. Blood Mage falls at level 2. Spellbreakers and a Mountain King, the only thing left to try and handle a Death Knight, and there is the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2. And really, as a reminder, don't forget to like my videos. Also, if you guys haven't followed me on Facebook, definitely follow me on Facebook. I will be posting up more announcements as the StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void beta has been announced, and I believe invites will be given later this month. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.